They were an everyday couple, married for years, raising two kids, managing their lives, their routines, their arguments, and their joys. Like most families, their home had moments of laughter and plenty of moments where things didn't feel right. They didn't always see eye to eye. The arguments would come and go, sometimes loud, sometimes silent, but they carried on. Not because everything was perfect, but because that's what people did. You learn to adjust and wait for better days. Their children grew up in this environment, one where love existed, but also silence, arguments, distance, the kind that builds up slowly over time. And without realizing it, years passed. They weren't bad people, just two individuals stuck in their own emotional worlds, often unable to reach out to each other in the ways they truly needed. And somewhere along the way, they stopped trying. Now, with the children grown and leading lives of their own, there's space. There's too much space. The distance is more and silence is louder. They sit across the dining table, not knowing what to say anymore. It's not anger, it's just emptiness, a sense of something lost that they can't name. They wonder, how did we get here? Maybe they are too tired to begin again, or maybe they just don't know how. But in quiet ways, both carry a small hope that they'll find a way to be okay. Not as a couple though, but as individuals. Because even after all this time, they still long for a life that feels connected, a life where they can feel more at home within themselves, maybe even find a little healing. So one day they walk into a lawyer's office. They are both in their late 60s now. It's quiet between them as they sit across the desk. The lawyer looks at the paperwork, then at the two of them confused. They've been married for around 40 years. He sees older couples often, but rarely ones asking to split up at this age. So he asks them gently, why now? They tell him they have been fighting for years, the kind of constant tension that wears you down. They say they stayed together for the kids, hoping things would get better. They thought maybe one day they'd figure it out, or maybe the noise of life would drown out the unhappiness. But now the kids are grown, married, living their own lives. There's nothing holding them anymore, except years of trying and failing. So they agreed. Maybe it's time to go their separate ways. The lawyer listens. He doesn't say much. But deep down, he's struggling to understand how two people who built so much together could walk away so quietly. Still, he draws up the papers. When it comes to sign, the wife pauses. She looks at her husband and says quietly, I really do love you, but I just can't keep doing this. I'm sorry. He doesn't argue, just nods. It's okay, he says, I understand. The moment sits heavy in the room. The lawyer watches them and feels something tug at him. He clears his throat and says, why don't we go out for dinner? Just the three of us. One last dinner together as friends. Surprisingly, they both agree. That evening, they sit at a quiet restaurant. The conversation is slow, a little awkward. The first dish arrives, roasted chicken. Without thinking, the old man lifts the drumstick, the best piece in his mind, and lays it on his wife's plate. Here he says gently, it's your favorite. The lawyer's heart lifts. Maybe there's still affection here. Maybe there's still a chance for them to be together. But the wife lets out a weary sigh. This is exactly the problem, she says. You never ask what I want. You just assume. I can't stand drumsticks. Silence hangs in the air. What neither of them realized is this. He had always put the drumstick on her plate because he believed she loved it. It's how his own mother showed care, giving the best piece to someone you love. She had never liked drumsticks, but had never corrected him. She thought it was his favorite, so she let him give it up for her. For 40 years, each thought they were sacrificing for the other, neither knowing both were unhappy with the arrangement. This is just a glimpse into how years of small assumptions and silent compromises slowly stacked up, quietly chipping away at their relationship. It's a proof that love without honest conversation can quietly drift into loneliness. That night, neither of them sleeps well. They toss and turn, both lost in thoughts. He lies awake, staring at the ceiling. He still loves her. That hasn't changed. And the thought of being apart from her scares him more than he expected. In the early hours of the morning, he picks up his mobile and starts to call her. It rings and rings. He keeps calling. On the other end, she sees her mobile light up, sees his name on the display. She sits there staring at the screen. Part of her wants to answer, but another part holds back. What's the point, she thinks. We've signed the papers. It's done. If I pick up now, I'll just embarrass myself. I wanted this, didn't I? The mobile keeps ringing. She taps end call and silences the phone, not wanting to hear any more ringing. She forgets, or maybe just didn't think in that moment, that he has a heart condition. The next morning, there's a knock at the door. He is gone. Heart failure, they say. He was found holding the phone, still trying to call. She rushes to his home. His glasses are on the table, the papers are still on the counter, and next to them, his drawer is open. Inside, she finds a file with an old insurance policy, dated from the day they got married. The beneficiary was her, and tucked beside it a handwritten note: To my dearest wife. If you're reading this, I'm probably not around anymore. I bought this policy for you. It's not a lot, just 100,000, but I hope it helps me keep the promise I made when we got married. Even if I can't be with you, I still want to take care of you in some way. I know we struggled. I know I didn't always get it right. But I want you to know I was always trying. I love you. I always have. She sits there holding the letter, the silence in the room heavier than ever. And finally she cries. Not just because he's gone, but because there were so many things left unsaid. Love is not a substitute for communication. You can love someone deeply and still grow distant if you stop talking. Because love needs expression, and proper communication is that expression. It's not just about saying the right things or loving things, but being willing to listen even when it's uncomfortable, asking questions, not just giving answers, speaking your truth without the fear of judgment. Relationships don't break overnight, they fade, one unspoken thought at a time.